The idea of getting rid of nuclear weapons can be a sensitive topic. I get that. Many feel they're a necessity, but usually those feelings are driven by fear. In reality, nuclear weapons have more cons than pros. For instance, they potentially could cause the deaths of millions of innocent people, are harmful to the environment, and cost the taxpayer millions of dollars. Instead, we could use that money for more useful things, such as fighting poverty and making sure the world is a vibrant place for our children and grandchildren. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 reasons we need to get rid of nuclear weapons. But before we get started, please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell. It really helps us out. #25. Nukes are difficult to control. Not only are they difficult to control, but they're imperfect. Imperfection and weapons of mass destruction are a deadly combo. There have already been several accidents involving nuclear weapons. For example, in November of 1950 in Quebec, Canada, a B-50 plane ejected a Mark IV bomb about 300 miles northeast of Montreal. In 1956 in Great Britain, a B-47 bomber crashed into a weapons facility. 24. It costs too much money. To look at the cost of one nuclear weapon, one would have to look at the factors that go into making one. North Korea has been reported to spend over $3 billion, and it's been reported that their leader Kim Jong-un has 60 nuclear weapons. According to the book Atomic Audit by Stephen Schwartz, the US has spent a total of $5 trillion since 1941 on nuclear weapons. 23. Nukes cause too many casualties. On top of the intended target, a nuclear weapon can take out plenty of innocent victims as well. According to one study, the US would have more deaths on its hands than in World War II alone. In North Korea, 200 people died at a nuclear test site. During World War II, in Hiroshima, there were 135,000 casualties, and in Nagasaki, there were 64,000. 22. Nukes are devastating for the planet. Some people think that you blast off one nuke and then it's just an explosion and that's it. Sadly, that's far from the truth. After a nuclear blast, the radiation and fallout does insurmountable harm to the atmosphere and the ecosystem. If several nuclear weapons went off, the blast would be the least of our worries. 21. Nukes violate peace treaties. The Proliferation Treaty was created to stop the spreading of nuclear weapons, and to only use nuclear weapons in a peaceful way. So far, 191 countries have signed into this treaty, and one of those includes a nuclear weapons state. The treaty also creates safeguards under the International Atomic Energy Agency. 20. Nuclear weapons can't address new threats. Times have changed with new threats that nuclear weapons can't fix, such as cyber attacks and terrorism. In the information age, cyber attacks and espionage have become much more potent and powerful than nuclear weapons. 19. Nukes cause proliferation risks. The Proliferation Treaty was put in action in 1970, and it said that any country that didn't have nukes wouldn't get them, and the countries that did would work on lessening them. However, this treaty hasn't been strictly enforced, which leads to the question, if we tell one country to not have nukes, shouldn't we enforce it for all? 18. The US can reverse the concentration of power. Nuclear weapons sabotage American democracy. The president wields too much power by having his finger on the button capable of destroying entire countries and possibly all of mankind. 17. The people have no say on the use of nukes. The president has the power to set the nukes off. This drastic decision is made behind closed doors by members of Congress and the military. The people have no say and no vote on the matter. 16. If nuclear weapons were abolished, there would be world peace. This is a pretty obvious statement. If all countries abolished their nuclear weapons, not only would there be no death and destruction, but there would be no threat of it causing panic and chaos. That's not to say that it would solve all our problems, but it would be a start. 15. History has shown us we need to get rid of them. 74 years ago, the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. killing close to 200,000 people. This tragedy affected the Japanese people for decades after, leaving many of them disfigured for life. Not to mention Nagasaki.
14.
Experts have warned us. Despite what you want to believe or not believe, there are military experts and scientists who say that the use of nuclear weapons is harmful. According to physicist Brian Martin, a blast from 1 megaton bomb would annihilate all people in the area, even if they were in a bomb shelter.
13.
For the sake of our kids. Don't we want to bring our children into a world of peace and harmony? If we get rid of nuclear weapons, then our children have a much brighter future ahead of them. And no, I don't mean brighter from the blast of the nuclear weapons.
12.
Prevent nuclear terrorism. If put in the wrong hands, who knows the catastrophe a nuclear weapon can cause? They are vulnerable to the theft from people who would like to use them. There have already been reports of theft of nukes. In 2007, 6 thermonuclear 150 kiloton nuclear warheads went missing. In the 70s and 80s, an arms dealer stole nuclear weapons and tried to sell them on the black market.
11.
They are actually illegal. In 1996, the Court of Justice said that for any country to use or threaten to use nuclear weapons had to be compatible with existing international law. And by using nuclear weapons, they violate human law because a nuclear weapon can't tell the difference between a civilian and an enemy combatant.
10.
Nuclear weapon makers are prone to high health risks. Not only are nuclear weapons damaging to the people they're used on, but they're also damaging to the people who work in the factories that build them. The workers themselves are prone to diseases and infections.
9.
The money could be used to stop world hunger. As I stated earlier, it costs a lot of money to build and maintain a nuclear bomb. Why not use that money to stop world hunger? Or make sure children get a better education?
8.
They will probably be used again. It's preposterous to think that if we have them, we won't use them again. Or they simply won't be used by accident through miscommunication or something. We need to get rid of them. When the Cold War ended, the Soviet Union and the US coined the term mutual assured destruction, which says to prevent nuclear war by threatening to commit one.
7.
Over 100 countries have already disarmed. Perhaps we should just follow the pack, and if we denuke, other countries will follow suit. A world without nuclear weapons is a much safer and happier world. So far, only 9 countries have them: US, Israel, Russia, England, India, North Korea, Pakistan, France, and China.
6.
Violence won't bring peace. There's a saying, fighting for peace is like screwing for virginity. War doesn't bring peace. It only brings on more war and animosity for other countries. We also have been fighting wars for millennia, and has it ever stopped war? No. War only brings more destruction.
5.
Fighting climate change. We could use the resources to not only stop world hunger and educate kids, but leave them with an Earth that's not been desecrated and destroyed by the effects of climate change. The exploding of nuclear weapons would cause a nuclear winter, which would then have damaging effects on the Earth's environment as well as food sources. The temperatures would drop drastically and keep the Earth's temperature at a nuclear winter for a decade and perhaps even centuries.
4.
There have already been accidents. The Pentagon admitted to 32 nuclear accidents, but according to a report, there were at least 1,000 accidents from 1950 to 1968. Most of the accidents were small, but others could have started a nuclear explosion. In 1954, there was one of the first nuclear accidents at the Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands. It happened due to a design error. The explosion was 15 megatons, which was 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima. Radiation from the bomb spread over 6,000 miles.
3.
Stability of the country. The power of the presidency, knowing they have such a great power, could destabilize the country. Recently, the US withdrew from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces (INF) treaty, which was an agreement with Russia to not create any new nuclear weapons. Arrogance in our own power could lead us to destruction. 2. North and South Korea agree to get rid of nukes. Peace talks are happening. Here are two countries that hate each other, and even they have come together to talk peace and disarm their nukes. The two countries signed a treaty called the Panmunjom Declaration for Peace. The treaty says that there will be no more war on the Korean Peninsula, and there will be peace. 1. It's just time already. Without the risk of repeating myself, I've given you all the reasons why we should dismantle all nuclear weapons. From the high death toll to the amount of money the taxpayers would save, and tie that on with a better world for our kids, and it's time to get rid of nuclear weapons. So, what do you think? Which side of the nuclear debate are you on? Let us know in the comments below, or tweet your answer to us at List25. And please, try to keep it civil.
Some of our commenters have already launched their nukes.
Nuke the comments. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button on the bottom right and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these videos here or just head to our website at list25.com.